Hey guys, it's the Driveway Liberty Podcast. I am Wes, and I'm here with my good friend Dan, and we're so glad you could join us tonight. You guys are the ever-present, the ever-vigilant, the smartest among us for watching this show, because you know we're going to shoot straight with you, and we might not always be right, but we're going to be straight. We're going to tell you what we think. We're not going to pull any punches, and we're going to let you know what's up in this world. We got a big show for you tonight, so be sure to stay through the whole show, participate in the conversation. Dan, buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing so well, I didn't shave today.
I was about to give you a hard time about that. You brought it up before I could say anything.
Well, I got it's interesting. We had high school playoff start last week.
Right.
And, I have to shave for game day. And last week, my boss basically said, we're based on who won and lost in the Panhandle, we probably would not be getting a game the following week. Well, guess what? Not only do we have a game, I have a game Thursday and Friday, so tomorrow and Friday. So I'm like, I could have shaved today before the show, but I got to shave tomorrow, so I decided not to shave for the show. I hope you all enjoy my Don Johnson-esque beard.
Let's not get carried away on that, Dan. I don't know that Don Johnson-esque is going to. I mean, that's not quite the Miami Vice 5 o'clock thing that he had going on, which we all wish we had back in the 80s. You know?
Yeah.
I was in high school.
When I do it, I just look like a bum.
Look like a wino.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we thought we were going to come in this week with new information, new things to talk about, but guess what? Epstein updates. Here we are. It's the 3:30 shadow, Gordon, is what that is. But we're running into with the Epstein stuff. Obviously, yesterday, if you haven't been paying attention, Congress, both the House and the Senate, voted to release the Epstein files. Now it goes to Trump's desk, and it is anticipated he is going to sign it. And there's some corollaries to that, which we'll get into in just a minute. But lot going on behind the scenes, and what we're finding out, because last week, you remember the Democrats released some select emails with Trump's name on them, but there was also 20,000
pages,
documents
pages,
released. So a lot of what was going on with that stuff is what's coming out this week, and some of that is the fact
Thanks,
that
Beverly.
a lot of the Dems are kind of getting a little karma. They wanted these files released, and they're getting everything they wanted out of them. And there's also some critiques that we'll talk about in a little while of the Republicans. But before we do that, we've got a question for everybody watching, and we want you to let us know if what you're about to see qualifies for sedition. We'll give you more context on it in just a minute, but let's watch this real quick.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day
to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
Like us. You all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
And right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
or our Constitution.
We know this is hard
and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army,
or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
I mean, we're supposed to be talking right now, but I'm still speechless over this. What does this apply to? What this is doing? I'll give you my thoughts. I mean, I have my own thoughts, but Dan, what are you thinking, buddy? What are you thinking about this?
Well, this is another attempt at the establishment machine. Call it Democrats, call it whatever you want to. The anti-Trump people trying to put a wedge between the people who are serving underneath him, basically in his administration, and those who are under the orders of the commander-in-chief to not follow him. So what they said in there was illegal orders like they keep saying that Trump is using the military against the American people. And every time they take him to court, Trump wins.
Yes.
Like he's not doing anything illegal.
He's not invading territories within the United States.
No. So this is just another BS tactic to try to get certain members of the military who aren't on board with Trump.
Let's pick it back apart from a legal, or I'm not an attorney, so I can't really say this from a legal standpoint. Number one, they are absolutely right. A service member is under no obligation to obey an unconstitutional order.
But they did it like crazy under Biden.
Oh, yeah. Number two, the inference in this video is that those orders are being given. And this video is not necessarily for the service members. This is a dog and pony show meant to make those among us who are less than intelligent or less.
I think it's a combination.
Do what?
I think it's both.
Maybe. But predominantly the majority of our population are not military. And what this is doing is giving them fuel to further create a divide in inferring that that's what's going on. With that, technically, they didn't say that out loud, and that's why the people watching, what do you guys think? Is this sedition? Is it borderline? Is it tap dancing on the line? What do you think? Let us know in the comments. By the way, thank you in advance for sharing the podcast. I didn't do that up front, so my apologies. Right now, we're operating on a shoestring budget, and so at the absolute least, we ask that you share the podcast with your friends and family. If you enjoy this, you enjoy watching this. We have tried to clean up the language so people aren't embarrassed to share us, but every now and again we might go off the cuff a little bit. Their tone is extremely condescending, and as Deborah Lee says, that it's TDS real bad. That's exactly what I don't know that this is. They are creating TDS with this. This is what they are doing. They are spreading.
Yeah, they're fueling it. They're fueling.
They're pouring gas.
They don't need to create TDS. That shit's out there. They're fueling it. They're activating the TDS members in society. Go gadget, freaking be idiots.
Yeah, and it's absolute BS. I mean, right now, it doesn't take a lot of digging. You realize that any National Guard troops, people in Memphis, a predominantly liberal city, are loving the fact that the National Guard was there to help clean up the city. Now, I just learned there was a Tennessee court case, a little side note that we didn't even discuss pre-show, where the Tennessee Supreme Court said that the National Guard was there illegally. They weren't under any obligation to be there because they're a state organization. And that may be accurate, but it was my understanding they were there under the governor's orders, or at least with the governor's support. And he is in full control of the National Guard. That being said, let's get into let's get a little knee deep in some Epstein stuff.
Well, before we do that, I have a comment to make about this. Is like the insincerity is glaring. These people are not. They're coming off as country above party. I am the voice of what's right. They're trying to sound like they are the good guys. And in reality, they're a part of the problem. When their party, because it's worse, because they're doing the opposite. When their party was in power, go back and look through the Russia hoax, the Ukraine call BS. Did you see them getting online and talking about how the country is more important when people were completely and 100% lying and making up out of thin air things about the president? They don't care about the country.
No, they don't care.
It's literally the opposite.
And we're about to get into like just proof positive that they don't care about the country, and the fact that they don't even care about the Epstein files. All they're trying to do is stick it to Trump.
Yeah.
Stick it to Republicans. Not even just Trump, but Republicans on the whole.
And continue to fuel the divide, because divided people are easier to control.
All right. So Exhibit A. Let's talk about Representative Plaskett from the Virgin Islands.
Non-voting member of Congress.
Non-voting member of Congress, but
in some pretty important committees.
She's in some very important committees. She's out on one of the House Select committees, and if you don't, anyway.
She's on the Intelligence Committee, and she's on the Weaponization of Government Committee.
Yes. So it's going to take, I'm doing this a little differently. I normally do the videos, so give me just a second, and we're going to watch this thing here. And there isn't any sound with this yet, by the way. So don't adjust your speakers at home.
This was when Barack Obama was president of the United States. And while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped out the president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They
and
are.
Are there other people that we should be meeting with?
So Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
Uh-huh.
The
You got to
Trump
quickly give us
organization.
as many names as you can so we can get to them.
Yes, ma'am.
As Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's position?
Rona Graff is Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot that went on.
So, as you can see here, she was getting texts during this conference. And just to clarify, if you didn't read it in the beginning, this was an impeachment hearing on Trump in his first term. 227-19. Now, let me point out that in 2008, Jeffrey Epstein was convicted in the state of Florida through a crappy plea deal where he really got off easy for, I think, soliciting prostitution age 14 and under. And not even acting as a pimp like he pretty much did, or a child trafficker, or all the other pedo shit he did. Sorry, trying not to cuss. So what he did, so this is 9 years later, or 11 years later, after he was convicted of that. So let's see. Give me just a second, because now.
Hold on 1 second. I want to give some more details on this video that you just watched. So while the other members of Congress were talking to Cohen, you can see Plaskett kind of looking at her phone and glancing down. I know there's some text at the bottom of the video too, but let me just tell you, she was texting Epstein during this. Epstein reached out to her during this meeting. Before she asked her questions, Epstein coached her on what to ask Cohen.
Mm-hmm.
So he said things like, "You're chewing on something."
What are you chewing? What are you chewing? Was one
like I'm chewing the inside of my cheek. It's a middle school tick kind of thing. And he's like, "You look great, great outfit and stuff." And then he mentions to her, Cohen brought up Rona, keeper of secrets. So he spelled it RONA when he texted her. And she was like, "I'm up next, quick. What's Rona? Is it an acronym?" And then he replied back, "No, it's Trump's or his executive assistant." So she
didn't even know.
Yeah. She had no idea what a Rona was.
Right.
Like Epstein told her to ask about it. So now it's on the record, giving Cohen the opening that he needed to kind of talk about that. Like, yeah, if there's a smoking gun, she's the one you need to talk to, because she's the one that is the keeper of secrets.
Absolutely.
And he's coaching her through this whole thing. And he texted her multiple times. Now, this is a sitting member of Congress on the Intelligence Committee and on the Committee in the Weaponization of Government that is texting with a pedophile.
Yes.
And they're running around screaming that Trump's name is mentioned in an email. Yet this person is a sitting member of Congress who's getting coached during a hearing by Epstein. What's worse? Now, granted, if there's pedophiles involved, cut their nuts off and hang them from fucking.
No, every one of them. Every one of them. Every single one of them.
But this whole this whole group of 2,000 emails that's been released has done nothing but blow up in the Democrats' face, because if you look at it, the real bad guys in this whole thing, the things that incriminate the most, they're Democrats, a lot of them that are in these emails.
Yes, absolutely. And the more emails you review, you realize that Epstein actually hated Trump. He was
around. Well, you learn that in the three. Three that we talked about at the last show, it's like, well, he's not speaking kindly of Trump.
Right.
Like, he didn't like Trump. So now here he is coaching a sitting member of Congress on how to get Trump.
Congress, not commerce.
Congress.
Yeah. All right. Let me pull up this next video. This is going to be her speaking. It's going to take me just a second.
Does Representative Plaskett have anything to say? Business Insider has reported on this as recently as, I believe, July of 2023, about meeting with Jeffrey Epstein in 2018 and receiving $30,000 of campaign contribution.
Jeffrey Epstein was a resident of the Virgin Islands. He wanted to make contributions to the Democratic Party. He asked for contributions. He made contributions to my campaign. I do believe that he was a reprehensible person. And after finding out what he had done, I gave the money that he had contributed to my campaign to nonprofit organizations dealing with supporting women and children in my community.
Excuse me.
So this is her getting called out by a citizen on C-SPAN who called in.
Right.
And said, listen, you took money from Epstein.
Yeah, 34.
Her answer was, I gave that money away to women and needy children.
Yeah.
Yet you were taking his advice via text message in the middle of a freaking hearing in Congress. You didn't mention any of that on C-SPAN, did you? It's absurd.
So there are also allegations against Plaskett and this is alleged. Let me say this. Now, a few years back, some of her employees released some very racy photos of her and compromising. She was nude, and she was apparently involved in some sort of sex party. So take that for what it's worth, or what you think is. So
Epstein's Island.
It could have been Epstein's Island, which, I mean, he is a constituent. He's given her money. He's texting her during a House hearing. There's no way she did not know.
You know why he's a
registered sex offender?
Because Epstein's Island is in her area.
Yes.
The place where all this seedy crap went down is in her area.
Absolutely it is. So there's no way she did not know this.
You can't make it up.
And
reality is so much better than Hollywood.
Heather Schultz brought up a point that we'll discuss a little bit more in detail here in a few minutes, Heather. I promise you we will talk about that. So Hakeem Jeffries, who also, there's one of the emails says that he solicited, his team solicited contributions from Jeffrey Epstein after 2008. Schumer also allegedly received contributions, as did a number of other Democrats. But when Hakeem Jeffries, who's the House Minority Leader, and this is a current picture of him, by the way, when he was asked if he had any comments on Plaskett's situation, he failed to respond 3 times. There's a video out there of him doing that. And he finally says, well, I believe her team has responded to that. Then, then
he pivoted and said, we're gonna expose every Republican involved in the Epstein cover-up.
Yeah, and see, that's exactly where we're going with this, is that this has never been about, protecting children.
Nobody cares about the kids. Nobody.
They don't care about the kids, or they would have taken money from a sex offender.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Taking text from a sex offender. They wouldn't be sitting in Congress taking questions from a sex offender.
They don't care. Anything that will help them politically.
It's all a ruse, man. It's all a ruse.
They're whores, man. They're political whores. They'll take money from anybody. And if they can use this situation to damage their political opponent, which right now, forget about every Republican. Their only political opponent is Trump and anybody aligned with Trump.
And that brings up a great point. And it look, I've got some things I'm going to say about where I question Trump here in a minute. But if you have a congressional puppet at your disposal and she is asking questions in an impeachment hearing and you had dirt and you were feeding her the questions and you had real dirt on that individual that was the subject of that impeachment hearing, would you not disclose that to your puppet who's asking questions? Did that make sense? I mean, would you not say, okay, well, ask Trump if he was ever on my island. Ask Trump if he's ever been in my house and been in compromising situations. You know, those were the things, or ask Trump's staff or some, you know, whoever that was being questioned.
At the time of that hearing, they weren't looking to connect Trump to Epstein Island. It wasn't about that. At the time of that hearing, it was Cohen and Stormy Daniels and all that kind of crap. So he was feeding them a name for the Democrats to go after another person in Trump's inner orbit to try to pick up anything. It's the old show me the man, I'll find the crime kind of scenario. And here's another person who's in the inner circle that reads the emails, that's a part of the conversation, that knows the inside stuff. That's why he brought it up to her.
Yeah.
There was no incriminating anything in there. Just here's another person that you can go look to see if there's some dirt somewhere.
Well, what I'm saying is if Epstein had dirt on Trump, he would have revealed it.
Sure, absolutely he would have. Everybody would have revealed it. Biden for 4 years had it. He would have revealed it.
So yesterday there was or was it this morning? I can't, man, the timeline's moving so quickly. Plaskett, maybe it was today. She was up for censure because of this situation where she was taking texts from Jeffrey Epstein during this situation. And the censure didn't pass. They did not remove her from that very important committee that she's a part of.
Sure.
She should be kicked out of Congress. But let me tell you what the GOP did. They traded the censure. I'm talking about
allegedly.
Allegedly. Well, a lot of House members are saying this. Allegedly traded the censure to save Corey Mills.
Backroom deal, yep.
A little back scratching for both sides. And let me tell you, I don't know what you know about Corey Mills. He got married in an Al-Qaeda mosque, and he participated in sextortion of a different woman that wasn't even his wife. And I've seen the text. They're out on Twitter. You can go see them, where he's telling this woman what she has to do for this man that he's pawned her off on for some sort of favor.
He's a bad dude.
It was so bothersome to me as a husband and a father of a daughter to see those texts that I didn't include those tonight.
But we're in such a political environment that the political party we support feels that this would be such a negative impact because we're in a stupid place. We're in a very stupid place that we can't call out individuals for the criminality that they do because it's going to hurt the party.
Right.
And they got Nancy Mace is the one who's saying, screw that. I'm bringing this vote up. So there are some people out there that are in these positions that put law, decency ahead of the political environment at the expense of their party's political. You know, we all know that if there's any Republican that there's dirt on, it's going to be all over the place.
Yes.
So that just automatically reflects on every Republican. But when the
Well,
Democrats,
they lump everybody in together.
yeah,
that whole barrel of apples is spoiled because of one bad apple.
But until we have everybody who's acting with integrity and cares more about the actual job that they're supposed to be doing as opposed to protecting the system that they are now a part of, this is going to continue.
Yeah.
And that is the insanely frustrating thing, is we can sit here and jump from instance to instance where this person is bad, this person is bad, this is that. We can spin it however we want to. But the bottom line is the system is a giant cesspool of cancer that is eating our country alive.
Yeah.
And these people that are in there are like the freaking bad cells that are continue to multiply, that is just spreading throughout everything. I don't know if that was a good analogy, but I thought it was apropos. So
it worked. And it's
driving me nuts.
No, it's driving me crazy too, man. I tell you what, we're doing show prep, and there is so much happening so quickly. I see why people get burnt out on this, and they just stop following it. And what they'll do is read a headline. I see that. I understand that now, because with all the information I ran across today and yesterday afternoon that I had to weed through for tonight's show, and you too, Dan. I mean, it's so difficult to narrow it down to just saying, okay, here's some big stuff and here's some big stuff. So what we try to do is pick what we're passionate about and what's going on. So Gordon says, Republicans have no leg to stand on for not putting everything that still exists on the table within the first 100 days. Man, you're right, brother. You know, it's kind of funny. I shared a meme that I actually shared in Trump's first term, in his first 6 months in office, regarding Obamacare. And it was the guy drinking his coffee, and he's looking like he's just panicking. He's got a little bit of panic on his face. And he was like, oh, it's so good to know that we've got the House, the Congress, we got the House, the Senate, and the presidency. So Obamacare should be gone pretty soon. Because if you remember, and I'm going to remind people of this any chance I get and anytime the subject comes up, that entire Congress won their election, and it was one of Trump's talking points on repealing Obamacare, not fixing
John McCain,
like Rick Scott came out and said today, not fixing it,
repealing,
not adjusting it, repealing it. And Dan, we talked about insurance last week, and one of the absolute best things we can do is stop subsidizing insurance companies, stop having government involved, because if you look at the inflation of college tuition, you look at inflation, anything, it's when government gets involved in subsidizing it. I mean, the government involvement causes inflation. That's oversimplistic way of putting that, but it absolutely does.
It destroys it. Look at what they did to student loans. I mean, all the things that we complain about that are horrible for Americans, the government has fixed.
Right.
Student loans.
Yeah, it's
healthcare, the airlines, banking, mortgages.
I don't
go through the whole list. Everything the government touches turns to crap. And I don't know why we still ask them to do it.
Man, we talk about this every week. I'm tired of beating that horse.
But to Gordon's point that he said earlier, is the issue we have, or one of the issues we have, is there's a lot of Republicans that are no different than Democrats.
No, you're right.
They're there to support the system that keeps them in power, that gives them their elite status, that allows them to walk in front of a camera and say, I'm a U.S. congressperson. I have, and you're getting wined and dined
At Champagne Hot
Going
Tub.
to all these parties and, you know, all these influential people are kissing your ass. That is a seductive thing.
It sure
James
is.
talked about it when he was on our podcast of what happens to people when they go there.
Yep.
The Republicans are not the solution. The idea that we were going to have a Republican administration that was going to be a wrecking ball, that was going to destroy this system from within, dismantle it, and then rebuild it the right way, was why Trump won.
Yes.
And every second that Trump is in office, not doing that, because he has people like Mike Johnson fighting against him, not in public, but behind the scenes.
We're going to get to Mike in a minute.
We're not going to, it's not going to change. Like it's,
right.
Like if you're looking for Trump to be the solution, the wrecking ball, it's going to take a lot more than a Trump. It's going to take like a couple hundred Congress people. It's going to take multiple majority Supreme Court judges, multiple district court federal judges. It's going to take what the Democrats have done to assemble the bureaucracy to fight this is so embedded. We need to undo that.
Yeah.
When we undo that, then we can actually look at the Republican Party and ask them to do things that'll make it better. Because until you do that, it's just disruption at every turn. Every turn, every decision they make, you know, you got to wait. Whether it's the illegal border crossings, whether it's what ICE is doing, anything Trump does that is fixing anything or has the ability, the possibility of making things right, somebody somewhere obstructs it. And it's usually they find some judge who has no jurisdiction whatsoever. Like the Supreme Court says they don't have jurisdiction over the election cheating.
Yeah.
But we can give jurisdiction to a federal district court judge in Virginia to tell us what we can do on the Texas border. Kiss my ass. Stop listening to these people. Tell them to take a walk. Why are we listening? Because in the end, all you're doing is delaying it. Trump ends up winning all of these things because he's not doing anything wrong. The problem is he's fighting within the system, and the system is trying to fight back with everything they have, and they got way more tentacles than he does.
Yeah, it's like one of those sci-fi movies where you're trying to unplug the computer and it starts killing you.
Yeah.
Doing that. So Gordon brings up the point that the Republican Party happens to be the best tool. I'm going to put it back on the screen here. Best tool to accomplish the goal, though, in his opinion. And I don't necessarily disagree with that, but one thing that the Republican Party as a whole has to start back doing is talking about limiting the power and size of government. They haven't been talking about that for about 10 years now.
And they haven't run on it. Nobody wins running on that. Not at any level. At any level. The first person who won running on limiting the size of government was Trump.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even the main rallying point. But
so funny story. I'm not going to mention any names, but a young man attempted to join a local rec committee, and he was, I think, the first one that I've ever heard of not being voted in as a committeeman in the local rec club. And then he puts out this thing about how, you know, people said he was a rhino, but I recall just a few short years ago, he was in favor of raising taxes locally rather than cutting expenditures. The first thing we should look at in all of government, and a lot of people, it's no secret that I feel this way, is if you have to consider doing something to raise revenue, the first thing you should do before even bringing that topic up is looking at somewhere where you can cut expenditures. And I assure you, on every level of government, every single level of government, there are places to cut expenditures.
Wes, we blew up the budget to get through COVID and still haven't rolled that back.
No, you're absolutely right. All right, we need to move on, Dan. So talking about there's kind of in the Republican Party, there's a bit of a rift going on. So this ties back into Epstein as well. So as many of you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, was in favor of releasing the files. She never said that Trump was in them. She never said anything negative about Trump in this. But she was lambasted by Trump and has since been called a traitor. Let's see what she has to say about that.
I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me.
So, this is where I'm going to be a little critical of Trump. The appearances of him going after her, who has really been one of his biggest supporters through both terms, both elections, between elections. Now, we know MTG,
she was a bulldog for him.
She was a bulldog. She was flying in other areas to campaign for him. And for him to call her a traitor and come out so strongly on this Epstein thing, it gave me great pause in saying, why? Why is he coming after her this hard? And I still don't have an answer to that question, but it concerned me greatly that he did that. I mean, it's actually a little troubling to me because she never called him by name in that. And if you've heard, and I listened to a couple of videos from the ladies that were victims of Epstein, and if I could have found, one that was a compilation of them and not the representative speaking, I would have included that tonight, but I couldn't find one. Everything was uncut and I didn't have time to edit it myself. But it's heartbreaking that this went on for so long, and I don't understand how anybody. Now, Trump can make the argument, well, I'm trying to get things done, and this is a distraction. And I can perfectly understand and view that, but this is important. These young ladies were minors. They were taken advantage of. They were manipulated and raped. One of the girls literally talks about being raped 3 times a day. And you have a daughter, I have a daughter, and I could not imagine if somebody come to me and said, your best bud from middle school is a pedophile, and I've got proof of it, but I need your permission to release that because he's your friend, or you knew him, you associated with him back in middle school. I wouldn't bat an eye. I'm like, hell yeah, release it and fry his ass. String him up by his testicles. I mean, would not hesitate. Somebody came to me and said that about a family member. Same thing. Hang him up.
Wes, you're not a politician, man.
I know that.
That's the problem. That right there is the problem.
If we don't protect our kids, our drunks, and our elderly, what are we doing in this society? If anybody needs that protection, I'm a big individual rights guy, but those people are the weakest among us that need the most help. Drunks was a joke in that, by the way, for those who will take things out of context, like the people who did with Charlie Kirk. It is frustrating to me. It's infuriating to me that we sit back and why wouldn't we just get to the bottom of this and just fry every damn one of them?
Well, The
And I
first
don't
part,
care how much money they got. These LinkedIn co-founders, this OpenAI co-founder, this professor at Harvard that are all been linked to this, if they are guilty of this shit, I don't care. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care if it's Trump himself. Fry their asses.
they care. They
No, I know they care.
And they're going to they're not going to allow that. The people we're asking to fry them are the people that need to be fried. That's the problem.
No, yeah.
We're asking the freaking fox to hold himself accountable for eating the hens.
Yeah.
And to go back to what your point was, where you said that you could understand that Trump wants to move on from this because he's trying to fix other things. That is a legitimate thought process, but it's a horrible political thought process in the current environment.
No, and you got to get
this
shit right.
This Epstein stuff could have gone away very quickly if he really done what MGT said to do. MTG, sorry, I keep getting that back.
I say MGT as well.
If he would have done that in his, if what's her face, who's the AG? Bondi wouldn't have come out with her bullshit freaking binders. Like, some of the stuff they did was completely absurd. The binders, handing them to all these social media influencers, was ridiculous. If they would have just forced, Trump can do this. He doesn't need Congress to tell him to do it. He could have released all this stuff, redacted anything he wants. He had total control. His executive branch has everything in their possession. He could have released it all and just bite the bullet and make this go away and spend the early part of your administration doing what you're doing anyway and justifying your name being somewhere in there. Let the whole context go out.
Let it go.
Let the whole context get out there.
Unredacted.
And then fight those battles and justify your name being in somebody's email, if that's the worst of it. Because it's coming out anyway.
Yes. Well,
but if there's something really bad in there about you,
then
I guess,
you need to pay the penalty.
That seems more logical a reason not to do it.
You're absolutely right. Let's see what Mike Johnson has to say on this.
All right. Number 5, national security concerns, okay? The discharge requires the Attorney General to release within 30 days, quote, classified information to the maximum extent possible. This ignores the principle that declassification should always rest, and always has rested, with the agency that originated the intelligence. Why? So that they can protect their critical sources and methods. It is incredibly dangerous to demand that officials or employees of the DOJ declassify materials that originated in other agencies, in intelligence agencies.
What are they trying to...
Man, I don't know, but if releasing the names of pedophiles on the Epstein list threatens U.S. national security, we are being ruled by not only pedophiles, but criminals.
What sources and methods are you trying to protect? Like, that's such a bullshit answer for any redaction or any reason to not release things that hurt the system. And make no mistake, Mike Johnson is a part of the system.
Yes.
He's there to protect the power structure. He's not there for us. Never has been, never will be. He's not a good guy. He says some good things every once in a while, and he'll give you a little bit of a carrot on a stick, but he is not here for the American people.
No, he is there for Mike Johnson and Mike Johnson only. This is troubling to me. In addition to Trump going hard after MTG, the fact that they would set this up and say, I mean, it's a info drop for a narrative to come out. Well, that was national security. Why is a list of pedos? Unless Epstein truly was part of Mossad, And if he was, why was he acting on U.S. soil as a U.S. citizen? That means he was a spy and should be.
There's probably something much deeper.
Posthumously discredited even further.
That makes more sense than anything. That there's something deep in the intelligence world that Epstein was involved in that they're trying not to expose. That's the only thing that makes sense.
That's the only thing that makes sense. But even so, I don't care, man. I don't care.
Well, I'm not saying it's right.
No.
But
let the cards fall where they may, and let justice be served for these victims.
They never do that. It doesn't. That's the problem. When was the last time somebody was held accountable that was in a high, powerful position in
Harvey
US
Weinstein? No, if you're talking about politics, never.
Politicians. No, I'm not talking about just some rich guy.
Yeah.
Politics. Name a politician that truly was held accountable. Even the guy who doctored the FISA email.
Yeah.
Got a slap on the wrist. And he's out now. He got released. He lied on a FISA. and he got like 2 years and was released after like 8 months. And he got a fine that some lobbyist paid for. Like, nobody's held accountable in these positions. That's why they keep doing this stuff. Never, ever, ever is anybody held accountable. And that's what's so frustrating. And that's what Trump ran on. That's the real thing that Trump ran on. We're tired of these people being able to do whatever they want to. The system is corrupt. Our institutions are corrupt. These people are going to be held accountable. Now we find out that freaking the prosecutors screwing up the freaking James Comey indictment, that there's a possibility that's going to get thrown out.
Yeah.
And we won't get into that in this show until there's some more information out. But like, we're stepping on our Johnsons everywhere we go. Like, blow it up. Blow it up. Release everything. Blow it up.
You know, it's funny. You remember back right after J6. All these conspiracy theories were out and people were sharing this stuff. And somebody sent me a 4chan. I don't know if you remember 4chan. It was kind of like Reddit. But it was a message board, and there's a lot of nefarious crap that went on. It wasn't dark web, but it
just didn't have a pretty.
And it was a complete and utter lawless message board. So somebody sent me something that somebody anonymously wrote on there that supposedly, and he says, I worked in the deepest levels of security in our government. And there is information that's coming out soon that's going to just, a lot of the high people in power will be taken down.
Was that like one of the QAnon guys?
It was one of the QAnon guys. But, you know, I dismissed it. I'm like, you know, that's BS, dude. I mean, it ain't nothing going to happen. And a lot of people were convinced that Trump had the military under, you know, he had signed authority over the military and he was waiting his moment. He was going to come back and take back the White House like the first year and then the second year. And I'm like, man, that's bullshit. That's not how it works. You know, the president can't legally assign his authority to anybody. And the only way he can do that is dying or being rendered incapacitated and the vice president take over.
So you mentioned this, and we could probably go into it maybe more in depth on the next show. But apparently, there's information coming out that the pipe bomber. Remember the January 6th pipe bomber?
Yeah.
Apparently, they're saying that they have evidence that it was an actual Capitol Police woman who was the
a police woman or a CIA or FBI op?
Capitol Police woman.
Okay.
And they're saying she was also the pipe bomber, and they're saying she was also one of the officers who fired the crowd stuff directly into the faces of some of the protesters on January 6th.
Yeah, they said it was based on her gait, that they could tell that that was her or something along those lines.
Yeah. Well, there's been some reporters, one of them works for the Blaze, that have been digging into this stuff for like 5 years. And it's really fascinating that they had video of the people who were investigating the pipe bomb, like walk up, like they were sent out to go look for the bomb. And
Right.
they found the exact bush in a park in Washington, D.C. in 12 minutes. The exact bush. Just walk right up to it.
That's so stupid, man. I'm not trying to be rude, but
nobody's ever held accountable for anything, so it doesn't matter.
the guy who founded Project Veritas and got fired, what's his name?
James O'Keefe.
James O'Keefe, yeah.
And nobody gets held accountable for anything. Like, especially like you got the guy who shot Ashley Babbitt in the neck, gets a medal.
Yeah.
Like you could go through a million different examples of people doing the wrong thing for the wrong reasons, whether they're evil or whether they're caught up in the system or whatever, protecting the system. Nobody is ever held accountable. And until people get held accountable, nothing's ever going to change.
Well, and you know what? They say no kings. We're sitting here with almost 500 of them sitting up in on Capitol Hill right now, and the bureaucrats that work for them.
So Bondi says she'll get it all out there to us. She got 30 days. She'll get it within that 30 days.
But the key in her language was to be as transparent as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we already know predominantly who the victims are at this point.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what else they need to be redacting.
Well, if there's video,
Obviously, we don't want to see the video. I mean, we don't need the video. We can have a description, a text description of the video, and I would trust that if it was unredacted. I don't know, dude. It's so troubling to me that this is where we are, man. It's kind of funny. I always make the joke that I grew up in an America where I believe that a guy with his shoulders narrower than his hips could wax a car a couple of times and whoop anybody's ass in a karate tournament. And that a poor meatpacking plant worker could win the world championship. And that, one guy with a beard could fight off the entire Viet Cong army with just using his hands. I mean, that's the America I believed in. I'm being overly aggressive in those descriptions, but that was America we believed in. The liberty and the justice.
The real America is the movie Falling Down.
Yeah.
Where Michael Douglas loses his crap
over a Egg McMuffin. Yeah. But it's scary, and you can sit here and waller in it, in the negativity and what it's going to take is, like we've said the last couple of weeks, is that we have to be our own heroes, man. And we have to talk to our neighbor about politics. That whole don't discuss politics or religion at the bar, at the dinner table, or wherever else. We got to stop doing that. We have to discuss it.
Yeah.
And we have to do it in a civil way. You can't be overly aggressive. You call out stupidity by pointing out why it's stupid. You don't call
When
it.
did we get so soft? Why can't we have arguments? Be overly aggressive and then have somebody make you eat your words if you're not right. Like this civil shit.
I think you can win an argument civilly without emotional.
But most people are not skilled at that, Wes.
I get that.
So we can't stop the people from arguing who aren't skilled at the Socratic or whatever the hell, however you say, method of freaking arguing, where you ask questions that make you defeat your own argument.
Well, it's Socratic method, but and you can still do that. And what's funny is the people who don't know how to argue are more susceptible to that than people who do in a civil way. Because you remain calm. You don't react when they get upset. You try not to. It's kind of hard, especially when they start calling you names and Nazi and racist and misogynist and all that. And that's what those terms are meant to do. They're meant to incite you and get you upset. But you can sit down.
I laugh at that stuff now.
Yeah, I do too.
But it still doesn't mean you can't argue freaking excitedly and passionately.
I'm not saying not be passionate. I'm not reprimanding you, Dan, just because you're overly animated.
No, I'm not even talking about me. I'm just talking about in a perfect world, we want these guardrails to make us be civil, wonderful, loving human beings. But in the real world, we need to smack somebody in the mouth every once in a while. This whole society was built on people being afraid of getting punched in the mouth.
There's two ways to argue. You can argue to win, or you can argue to influence. Those aren't always mutual. Those aren't always joined at the hip. And I used to argue to win. That's the way I used to always argue. It's just to win.
Yeah, now, but when you're arguing with a bully.
Oh, I'm not going to back down to a bully.
Sometimes they just need a punch in the mouth.
Yeah. Well, and you can do that.
Or actual.
Figurative
or actual. Rhetorical is the wrong word. Figurative or actual. Sometimes,
as much as you love the word literal, you should.
It's literally like my go-to word for everything.
Anyway, man, it's going to be interesting to see what comes out on this Epstein stuff going forward. And by interesting, I mean I hope that we fry a lot of individuals and we don't do like we've done. There's been 2 death warrants signed in the state of Florida over the last couple of weeks. And both of these people have been sitting in prison since the late 80s.
I'm worried that it's going to be a dud, a nothing burger.
Well,
because there's going to be
we get our hopes up on so many things. Things will start going in a positive direction, and then you get punched in the nads.
Well, think about the system. So the system just said, "We're going to give you what you want."
Yeah.
We're going to give you what you want in the next 30 days. So now in 30 days, what are we going to get? It's not going to be what we want.
What you're going to get, here's what you're going to get. Here's my prediction on this. You're going to get a lot of information. And you're going to have both sides. And yes, both sides. But one side more than the other. And it's not our side. Bastardizing that information and try to manipulate the conclusion of that information in their favor.
Yeah, they're already doing it.
They're already doing it. Yes, absolutely. Let's see.
Well, if nothing else, maybe we take the Epstein off of the table as a weapon to be used against your political enemy.
Yeah, I've seen that phrase before too, Deborah Lee. It's a quick way to shorten your Christmas shopping list is by bringing up politics at Thanksgiving. I grew up in a Southern Baptist minister's family. We talked about politics all the time. And obviously we talked about religion all the time.
I don't give a shit. I bring it up.
Yeah. Well, and we should discuss these things. We should discuss these things.
I bring it up when my kids' friends come over and sleep over. Like at breakfast.
And you should, buddy. You should. You should bring all of that up.
I'm the guy whose house nobody wants to go to.
I'll come hang out with you, Dan.
Danny's dad was talking about the Electoral College at breakfast today. Oh my God.
You're not going over to the Manichero house anymore. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for sharing the podcast. Thank you for being a part of the podcast and contributing via text. Thank you so much for doing you and being part of the elite that sit here and watch this show every week and get a different perspective than what's been given you anywhere else. So tell your friends about us.
Let's be honest here real quick.
All right.
We need some financial support too.
We do.
We are at the point where we've exhausted kind of the entry level of some of the technology behind the scenes, and we need to upgrade some, not hardware, but some software stuff. And Wes and I have been funding this thing from the beginning. We've gotten some support over the years, which has been great. And our own fault, we stopped for a while. That support has gone away, and that's fine. But we need to rebuild that. We need some financial support.
One good way is you could go buy a Driveway Liberty shirt, and you can go to look up the Driveway Liberty podcast on Spreadshirt, and there's a bunch of different gear there that you could buy. You could support the stream by buying us a cup of coffee, because we've stopped drinking on the show, which I think has been a positive thing for the show. I know I'm a little bit more astute and a little bit more well-spoken than I was when we were drinking. What are you drinking, Daniel?
Green tea and honey.
Oh, okay. Well, that's very healthy of you, sir. And you can also, if you just want to support directly, you could PayPal us at The Driveway. So there's a couple of ways you can support us. That is our PBS pitch for tonight, I guess. And we, as always, we appreciate you telling us what you think in the chat. For Dan, I am Wes, and I will see you next week on the Driveway Liberty podcast.